People of India, happy Independence Day. Are you happy being an Indian? Are you happy with the progress we have made since independence? मेरे पास आज कुछ बहुत स्पेशल है और कुछ ऐसी चीजें हैं जो जिन्होंने मेरे रोंगटे खड़े कर दिए. This is the newspaper of 15th August 1947. This is that newspaper reproduced. इस न्यूज़पेपर में कुछ ऐसी चीजें लिखी हैं जो मुझे नहीं पता थी कि उस टाइम के सेंटिमेंट इस न्यूज़पेपर में कुछ ऐसी चीजें लिखी हैं जिन्होंने मुझे शॉक करा. बिकॉज यू नो दे से समटाइम्स दैट हिस्ट्री रिपीट इटसेल्फ. द मोर थिंग्स चेंज द मोर दे रिमेन द सेम. उस टाइम का माहौल क्या था, इस टाइम का माहौल क्या है, दोनों ही चीजें मुझे मिली. कुछ चीजें जो इतनी चेंज हो चुकी हैं कि अनरिकॉग्नाइजेबल है और कुछ चीजें जो एग्जैक्टली वही हैं जो उस टाइम पर थी वही चल रही हैं. डू यू नो व्हाट वाज द वन थिंग आई फाउंड इन द न्यूज़पेपर? पेपर लीक्स. I kid you not, I found paper leaks in the newspaper, but I'll come to that. Let me tell you some of the most astounding crazy things. सबसे पहली astounding observation, it is full of ads. Newspaper तब भी ads से भरे हुए थे, अब भी ads के भरे हुए हैं. अब थोड़े ज्यादा रंग बिरंगे हैं, तब थोड़े कम. अब कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट के ads आते हैं, तब डिटर्जेंट के ads ज्यादा आते थे. बस इतना ही फर्क है. दूसरी चीज, जिस स्पिरिट से कुछ आर्टिकल लिखे गए हैं, एंड द फर्स्ट आर्टिकल आई एम रीडिंग इज बाय के एम मुंशी. इन लोगों की मेहनत, इन लोगों की एस्पिरेशन और जो इस मोमेंट से पहले इन्होंने बर्दाश्त करा है और जो इनके साथ हुआ है वो आपको झलक दिखती है जब आप आर्टिकल पढ़ते हो. And some of the things you won't imagine, because what K.M. Munshi is writing is he is constantly talking about Akhand Hindustan. He is saying Akhand Hindustan होना चाहिए था, 2 पार्ट नहीं होने चाहिए थे. He is praising Pandit Nehru a lot. He is talking about Mahatma Gandhi, and I'm quoting him. He is saying he wants August 15th to be a day of sorrow. The country is celebrating it as a day of deliverance. He wants Hindustani and 2 scripts. An overwhelming majority of congressmen want Hindi and Devanagari. The national mind has been shocked into appreciation of realities in spite of the father's hypnotic touch. But he still dominates as the guardian angel, the advisor, the cementer. The entire newspaper is replete with stuff like this. The impact of महात्मा गांधी, जो जिनको हम फादर ऑफ द नेशन बोलते हैं, हमको पता नहीं है, हमको शायद कभी पता चलेगा भी नहीं. सिर्फ इन लोगों के साथ वो इम्पोर्टेंस शायद उनकी चली गई है. द इम्पैक्ट that he had on everybody at that time is just ridiculous, enormous. He is everywhere in every single article. It appears as if independence was his own personal project और ये बाकी सब are bystanders. Everybody owes him that genuine debt. But जो thoughts हम सोचते हैं celebration के और jubilance के, सिर्फ वो thoughts नहीं हैं. There are thoughts of divergence. There are thoughts of people who don't want it the way they want it. Let me take you further. K.M. Munshi बोलते हैं when he is writing about the challenges of India and what India is facing, and again this is something that is going to shock you. I'm going to read it out. आप मुझे बताओ, is there something that you find familiar? He is writing this in 1947, mind you. The next danger arises from the sagging economic structure of the country, rising wages and ascending production, labor strikes, and a perverted social opinion which enjoys them. Scarcity of food and cloth, a depleted civil services, cracking at every joint, and a vicious system of control providing fostering source of corruption. This is what he writes. And strangling economic life. These are portents of a disaster which no more political independence can avert. Independence will be weighed in the scales of essentials of life. If they are not forthcoming, the political structure is sure to collapse. Now you tell me, has it been forthcoming? I don't want to impose any judgment on you. I want you to think for yourself. But the first and foremost obstacle to independence is a sense of frustration. Do you feel a sense of frustration which has overtaken us? We wanted Akhand Hindustan. We have 2 countries. We said we were one nation. We are now 2. We have 1 crore and 70 lakh of suffering Hindus across the frontier. And heavens, we know not how to rescue them. We have the day of independence, yes, but we must do penance in sackcloth and ashes. From the father of the nation to the man in the street, a sense of frustration has seized hearts, demoralizing outlook, converting a triumph into defeat, shattering the will to victory. And then he writes, he says, if independence is to be real, this sense of frustration must be overcome. We must develop faith, enthusiasm, and a passionate creative spirit. Pakistan may provide serious problems. Has Pakistan provided serious problems? I think he was right. A third world war may come sooner than we imagine. The British framework may go, and we dare not take the risk. These are just some of the passages, but it gets crazier. There is on the front page an article about free press. Do we have free press in India? जो इस article में लिखा है, the article is by Leonard Matters, Leonard W. Matters, who is the London representative of the Hindu, and he is writing, I am proud of being a member of the press, or he is talking about how the press has played such an important role और कितना press punish करी गई है इंडिया में. My question when I was reading this, had he been alive, would he have been proud? to be a member of the press. Do you think the press that we inherited after independence has continued to serve its legacy? I leave the question to you and to the press. And then I find this article by none other than Sir C.V. Raman himself. And you know what he's writing about? He is writing about science in New India. How many Nobel Prizes do we yet have? How is the science in your country progressing after all these years of independence? You know what he writes? The challenges जो इनको उस time पर दिख रहे थे, he writes, "It gives me great pleasure to respond to the editor's request to write on science in India. In doing so, I must regretfully point out that India is not yet free in the field of science. British imperialism, while prepared in the last resort to apply physical force, has always preferred to use less obvious methods of imposing her will on weaker peoples." He writes, science can be free in India only when we eradicate the tendencies which a century or more of foreign rule has left behind as an evil legacy. The worst legacy is our own belief in the superiority of European scientists and scientific institutions to those in our country. So long as this belief continues, there does not seem to me the remotest chance of Indian science rising to the level permitted by our own opportunities. I don't know किस हद तक हमने superiority achieve करी है, at least या superiority का attitude हमने overcome करा है, but I don't think science has progressed to the level that it should have, perhaps. And there is so much more that I could get into. But let me come to the paper leak. And this is what it says about paper leak. Alleged theft of question papers. The prosecution case was that there was a conspiracy between two accused who committed the theft of some so-and-so government exams paper from so-and-so press. The prosecution case was that there was a conspiracy between the so-and-so accused who committed theft of so-and-so papers which were printed, and that in pursuance of that conspiracy, the first accused, who was a binder in the press, stole some question papers from the press and gave them to the second accused, who sold them to various parties for profit. So paper leak has been part of our legacy, it appears. Tab chal raha hai aur ab bhi chal raha hai, but the legacy doesn't end there. Then I find this crazy article about Indo-Chinese friendship, and you know who is the author of this? The writer is the then ambassador of the Republic of China to India, and you know what he writes? I hope this gets read in China. The Chinese who are listening to this, if you are listening to this, pay close attention to this. This is your ambassador saying to India. He is saying, heavy intellectual debt. He says, while reviewing the past history of Chinese-Indian relations, I have somehow been puzzled that the Indian monk scholars were so generous to give but so reluctant to take. I have brought with me 3 Chinese books on Sanskrit, grammar and philology, one written perhaps in the 4th century and the other 2 in the 8th and 9th century, and yet so far as my limited knowledge in Indian literature and bibliography goes, I am still uncertain whether you have any books on Chinese grammar or philology or any translation of Chinese classics written by Indian scholars in and around that period. Anyhow, I wish to assure you that since China owes India a heavy intellectual debt of the past, she will never hesitate to pay it back if she has any intellectual contributions in reserve. I don't know how this ambassador would have reacted to the current situation between India and China and the fact that we have fought wars and we might yet still fight wars, but it's good that he realizes and recognizes that there is a certain debt that is owed. Then there is a very, very important article here about freedom and the responsibilities of freedom, जो कि थोड़ा सा introspective, जो कि थोड़ा सा आपको introspect करने पे मजबूर करेगा या at least करना चाहिए, and it is written by none other than Ladi Krishna Swami Aiyar. He is writing, freedom has its responsibilities. तो ये एक warning है, and this is a warning for everybody. ये कहते हैं, if the 15th August 1947 is the date when India passes from foreign tutelage to independence, it has also to be realized that freedom carries with it its own responsibilities to the governments concerned and the people. No longer will it be possible for the statesmen and administrators engaged in the governance of this country to plead foreign rule and the shackles imposed by it as a reason for the poverty and distress of the country. The consequences flowing from inflation, the food situation in the country and in the world at large, the fall in the industrial output due to various causes, the clash between capital and labor, the difficulty experienced in the import of capital goods and the dollar exchange. He's talking about the dollar exchange and the difficulties that we are facing in capital goods. Can you connect the dots and just realize how little has changed from the concerns of that day to the present? But I'll go further. The dollar exchange have all raised problems of great and increasing complexity which will tax the entire resources of the new government. At the same time, the average citizen will have to realize that it will not be possible for the national government to bring in a new heaven and earth overnight. Ab overnight to shayad khatam ho chuki hai, but I don't know if there was a heaven to be expected or not, but it's still figuring out, clean air quality and potholes and traffic jams and garbage. But nonetheless, every citizen must feel it as his own bounden duty to help the new administration with well-instructed and informed criticisms, as it is the duty of the government to seek enlightenment from every quarter. And he says, the police force, the civil services and the military arms of government which the people were prone to regard with distrust and suspicion as instruments of foreign rule will have to turn themselves into efficient instruments of national service, and the citizens must be trained to regard them as such. You know what I think at the end of it? I think हमने एक बहुत लंबे स्ट्रगल के बाद एक बहुत ज़्यादा potentially prosperous country inherit. वो country कहीं भी जा सकती थी. और I think for the most part we had a number of experiments. Some of them worked, some of them did not work, but I don't think we have achieved our potential as a country. I don't think we have achieved our potential as a democracy, to be honest. हमारी democracy अभी भी fragile है. I don't think we have achieved our potential as a people, frankly speaking. जो divisions जिसके बारे में ये अभी परेशान हो रहे हैं, they're worried about 2 countries. अब हमारी society में divisions देखो, there are many more than 2 countries जिनकी आपको आवाजें सुनाई देंगी. We don't come together and unite as a country, and we don't have a collective consciousness जो इस पूरे अखबार में मुझे दिख रही है. वो collective consciousness या तो बन के डिग्रेड हो गई या वो उस लेवल पे बन नहीं पाई. पर अगर ये स्पिरिट जो इन लोगों में दिखती है, अगर हमें इसका 1% भी जिंदा रह गया ना, तो there is no stopping Indians, because I believe, frankly speaking, that Indians are inherently better in some aspects than other people, inherently and intrinsically somehow smarter, more hardworking. That is why जहां पर भी जाते हैं टॉप पे पहुंच ही जाते हैं. आपको हर जगह इंडियंस दिखेंगे टॉप पे हर जगह. वो इंडिया में कब होगा, वो क्वालिटी इंडिया में कब होगी, वो पावर इंडिया के पास कब होगी. दैट इज माई ड्रीम फॉर इंडिया, एंड दैट्स द रीजन आई जॉइंड द सिविल सर्विसेज, एंड ऑल्सो द रीजन आई क्विट इट. आई थिंक वी हैव अ लॉन्ग वे टू गो, बट आई थिंक वी हैव कम अ लॉन्ग वे टू. वी शुड नॉट डिसरिगार्ड ऑल द प्रोग्रेस दैट हैज बीन मेड. कोई मजाक नहीं है वहां से यहाँ पर आना. यहाँ पर फूड स्कैर्सिटी की बात हो रही है, यहाँ पर उस सिचुएशन की बात हो रही है जब देश बिल्कुल बुरे हाल में था. दिस वाज द टाइम व्हेन देयर वाज राइटिंग कम्युनल वायलेंस. आज बहुत आगे आ गए हैं, पर हमारे प्रॉब्लम्स बहुत सारे सेम हैं. वी हैव अ लॉन्ग वे टू गो, बट वी हैव कम अ लॉन्ग वे टू. एंड विद दैट आई लीव यू with your thoughts to think about the country for today, perhaps a little bit, the country that you see around you, on your street, in your family, around your home, and just think about where it has come from, because it can't be taken for granted, and it should be paid a little bit more respect, and there should be a little bit more consciousness in your mind for it. I am genuinely and honestly quite obsessed with it, and I think a little bit of the obsession for our own country would not be such a bad thing. I don't think so. Thank you and all the best.